It's the year 2257. Humans have left Earth and settled on a new planet. They call it New World. Makes sense. It looks a lot like Earth, but it's not home. A teenage boy named Todd is out walking through the woods with his dog, Manchi. But there's something weird about this world. Todd can't keep his thoughts to himself. Literally. On New World, men's thoughts don't stay inside their heads. They spill out like a kind of smoky aura, colorful and shifting, so anyone nearby can see and hear what you're thinking. They call it the noise. Even dogs can pick up on it. Manchi barks when he senses Todd's noise, almost like they're talking without words. As Todd heads back toward his village, a man on a horse rides up. It's the preacher, a creepy, intense guy. Todd tries to calm his thoughts, tries to stop the noise from leaking out. It hurts, like it burns when he tries to hold it in. He pictures birds trying to focus, but it doesn't work. The preacher hears what Todd's thinking anyway. He calls him out, tells Todd not to hide, says he knows who he really is, an orphan, weak, soft, like a woman. The thing is, Todd has never actually seen a woman. None of the women on New World are around anymore. They're just gone. The preacher leans in close, quoting scripture that floats around him like ghostly echoes. Then he rides off, leaving Todd and Manchi standing there, rattled. Later that day, Todd gets home to the farm where he lives with his two guardians, his adoptive dads, Ben and Cillian. They're working the fields. That night, over dinner, Todd tries to keep quiet about meeting the mayor earlier, but his noise gives him away. His thoughts flash. Mayor Prentice said I used my noise well. His guardians don't like that. They don't trust the mayor. They don't want him getting into Todd's head, literally or figuratively. Then there's a flashback, or what looks like one. We see a younger Todd standing with Mayor Prentice. The mayor gives him a knife and tells him he needs to learn to tame things. But Todd realizes fast that tame is just a polite way of saying kill. And just as fast, we find out this flashback is actually part of the mayor's noise, a memory he's projecting into Todd's mind. The mayor explains that he wasn't born into the noise like Todd. He had to learn to control it through years of effort. Later that night, Todd's noise is heard again, leaking out into the bedroom where Ben and Cillian are talking. One of them is upset, not just about Todd, but about how much influence the mayor has on him. Meanwhile, up in orbit, a spacecraft is approaching the planet. It's carrying a new crew. They're part of the next wave of colonists. They have no idea what's waiting for them on the surface. As they descend into the atmosphere, things get weird fast. Suddenly, all the men on board start seeing and hearing each other's thoughts. The noise hits them like a brick wall. They panic. They're not used to this. And in the chaos, the shuttle crashes. Back on the farm, Todd is in the barn when he spots someone, a figure sneaking away. He thinks it's a thief and runs after them. The chase leads him to the crash site. He sees the shuttle wrecked and burned with graves nearby. He realizes someone must have survived. He runs back to the settlement to tell the mayor. But the problem with noise is you can't keep secrets. As Todd hurries through town, his thoughts start spilling out. Crash site, survivor, no noise. People hear him and start following. Curious. Todd tells the mayor what he saw. He leads him and a group of men back to the shuttle wreckage. When they get there, Todd explains what freaked him out the most. The survivor he saw didn't have any noise. That's when the mayor's expression changes. He tells his men, find her. Todd is stunned. Her? He realizes the survivor might be a girl, and that would be the first girl he's ever seen. He stays behind, thinking about it, trying to wrap his head around what just happened. And then, there she is. She walks up out of the trees, a real living girl, and Todd can't stop staring. So Todd's just standing there, stunned, looking at this girl, the first girl he's ever seen, while his thoughts are going haywire. His noise is so loud and messy, she can't even make sense of it. He panics, and before he can stop himself, he basically shouts through his thoughts, I found her! That sets off a whole mess. The girl takes off running. Todd chases her through the woods, but the mayor shows up fast. He uses his noise to trap her, not physically, but mentally. He creates an illusion of a glowing fence around her, just using his thoughts. She doesn't realize it's fake, and she's stuck. Back in the settlement, the mayor starts talking to the girl. Her name's Viola. She learns that the noise only affects men. Women don't have it. Then the mayor drops the supposed big truth. The native species on this planet, the spackle, killed all the women during a war years ago. That's what everyone's been told. Viola doesn't fully buy it. She keeps things close to the chest. She tells him another ship is coming to get her, but won't say where or when. The mayor can't get into her head like he can with the men, and that frustrates him. He leaves her with his idiot son, Davy. Davy starts rummaging through Viola's bag and finds a strange tool. Turns out it's a weapon. He activates it by accident and nearly blows them both up. Viola uses the chaos to escape again. She crawls under the preacher's house and overhears something terrifying. The mayor and the preacher are planning to ambush her rescue ship. The mayor wants to hijack it. The preacher, he thinks Viola is some kind of angel. Viola manages to flee the town. She ends up hiding in Todd's barn. When Todd finds her there, he realizes how scared she is, so he decides to help her. He even tries to keep it a secret secret from Ben and Cillian, his stepdads. But they pick up on it right away, even without the noise. Instead of turning her in, they decide to help. They tell Todd the only way to keep her safe is to take her to another settlement, a place called Far Branch. It's not under the mayor's control. Before they can leave, Mayor Prentice shows up at the farm looking for Viola. Todd and Viola manage to escape, but not before tragedy hits. Davy, the mayor's son, kills one of Todd's stepdads. Then the mayor gets in Ben's head. He tells him the only way to save Todd is to help bring him back. So now Todd, Viola, and Manchi, the dog, are on the run, headed for Far Branch. They don't know what's waiting for them. Along the way, Todd and Viola start to talk. They learn about each other. Viola was born on the ship that brought her here. She's never seen Earth, never felt rain. Her parents died on that ship too. She's never really had a home. Todd tells her his mother died when he was a baby. They're both orphans. Todd starts to develop a crush, hard. But because of his noise, Viola hears every thought, every fantasy, and she hates it. She tells him to stop. At one point on their journey, they come across one of the spackle, the species Todd was taught to hate. He attacks it, thinking it's the enemy that killed his mom. Viola begs him not to kill it, and then they both realize something. The spackle is afraid of them. It doesn't attack, it runs. When they finally reach Far Branch, they don't get the welcome they were hoping for. The townspeople are furious when they hear Todd is from Prentisstown. Some of them want to hang him. But the mayor of Far Branch, a woman, stops them. And that's when Todd starts learning the truth. The real truth. Everything he's been told his whole life is a lie. The spackle didn't kill the women. The men of Prentisstown did. They couldn't handle the fact that the women could hear their thoughts, but the men couldn't hear theirs. That imbalance drove them mad. That's why Todd's mom died. That's why all the women are gone. But in Far Branch, things are different. Men and women live together. Kids play in the streets. A woman runs the town. She gives Todd and Viola shelter. She protects them from her own people and from whatever's coming next. Viola's relieved to finally be somewhere safe, but she's also frustrated. Far Branch doesn't have any advanced tech, no way to contact her ship, no way to warn them. But the mayor of Far Branch tells her there's hope. There's another place, farther out, with a transmitter that might still work. While they're laying low, Todd and Viola grow closer. She reads to him from his mother's old journal. Through her words, Todd finally learns what life in Prentisstown was like before the women were murdered. And with every page, his hatred for Mayor Prentice burns hotter. The spackle don't even come up anymore. Todd knows now who the real enemy is. Meanwhile, Prentice and his men are getting closer. The mayor and the preacher are still clashing. The preacher just wants to kill Viola. Says it's God's will. Prentice, though, needs her alive. He wants to hijack her ship, and she's the only one who knows where it'll land. Eventually, they reach Far Branch. Prentice corners Todd and Viola, but Ben, Todd's surviving stepdad, creates a diversion. He uses his noise to project an image of Viola, tricking the mayor long enough for the real Viola and Todd to escape again. But this time, it's not easy. The enemy is right behind them. The preacher catches up first. He doesn't kill them, but he grabs Manchi, Todd's dog, and kills him in front of them. It's brutal. It's a message. Shaken, Todd and Viola stumble across the wreckage of the original colony ship, the one that brought the first settlers to New World. Inside, Viola finds a transmitter, but the antenna's broken. They split up. Todd runs to fix the antenna while Viola waits to send the signal. But time's up. The preacher finds Viola. He's fully gone, ranting about angels and sins and control. His noise is a mess, filled with rage and broken thoughts. Viola fights back. This time she doesn't run. Using one of her high-tech tools, she kills him in self-defense. At the same time, Prentice catches up to Todd. The two face off. It's not just a fight, it's personal. Todd tries to kill him with the very knife the mayor gave him when he was a child. They battle brutally. Todd's badly wounded. But then, he turns the tables. He uses the mayor's own technique against him. He takes control of his noise, and he fills it with ghosts. Todd projects the images of all the women Prentice murdered, his victims surrounding him in a silent circle. Among them, Todd's mother. The mayor is shaken, disoriented. And in that moment, Viola appears. She pushes Prentice off the edge of the wreck. He's gone. Todd collapses, bleeding out. The last thing he sees before everything goes black is Viola's ship descending from the sky. The men from Prentisstown see it too. They stop chasing. They turn back. It's over. Todd wakes up inside the ship, confused, weak, but alive. Viola's there. She stayed. She's not going anywhere. He looks at her, and his noise betrays him again. Pure happiness, relief, maybe even love. And then the thought pops out of his head, loud and unfiltered. Is she going to kiss me? We never know. And that is it for this movie called Chaos Walking. Please subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Until next time, this is your host for Movie Recap, signing off.